Hello everybody, Skippy Gamer here. Welcome to my video review of Final Fantasy VI, Super Nintendo version. Yeah, of course. Okay, first of all, rude! Second, I understand if you think I am crazy calling it 6 instead of 3. Although, history-wise, the original Final Fantasy III was released only for the NES in Japan. It's called the Famicom in Japan. Although, those games are completely different, and were never released in America at all. Neither did the second game for the NES also. Although, when they finally transported Final Fantasy VI for the Super Nintendo from Japan, Nintendo of America decided to rename it Final Fantasy III for us Americans. Probably to avoid telling the truth, so they can keep the other games that weren't released here a secret, maybe. Oh no, this title change has been done in the Dragon Quest franchise, so no surprise here. Anyways, this game was the last game that Square Enix made before they moved on to the PlayStation to make Final Fantasy VII. And this was, and still is to many people, the best Final Fantasy game ever, before Final Fantasy VII came around. And due to the stuff I've seen of this game, I can totally understand why they would say that. Although, I honestly don't think it's the best ever. It's good, but not perfect. Well, I started playing this game after hearing about how good this game is, along with some other inspirations, and made a deal with myself that I wouldn't spoil myself on the story's ending. Yeah, I have a bad habit of that. So, I did it. For many months, I pressed on to finish the game, and on October 30th this year, I finally finished it. So, do I think the game is so awesome? Or just okay? Well, let's press the start button and to find out. Story. I will explain some of the story to you guys, but not the whole thing, but on what you need to know. So, here we go. Long ago, the War of the Magi reduced the world to a scorched wasteland, and magic simply ceased to exist. "1,000 years have passed. Iron, gunpowder, and steam engines have been rediscovered, and high technology reigns. But there are some who would enslave the world by reviving the dread destructive force known as magic. Can it be that those in power are on the verge of repeating a senseless and deadly mistake? Probably. So then we see some soldiers with a girl on a snowy mountain, overlooking the sights of Narsh. They explain that they were sent to retrieve an Esper frozen in ice for 1,000 years. They also explain that the girl they have with them is wearing a slave crown, which means that the two soldiers have complete control over her. After that, the intro plays. Now before I continue, I encourage you to let this scene play when you start playing this game. Even if you are those people who just skip any cutscene or something, I encourage you to just put down the controller and see it all the way through. Once the scene is over, they get to the town, and a bunch of people fight them off, but they are no match for the two soldiers' Magitech armor. Magitech armor is giant mechs that wield magic. I will get to that in a sec, although it should be kind of obvious what this means. After fighting all the way to a nearby mine, they send a monster to attack them, but unfortunately, they were prepared for that thing. Then, after that fight, they reach the frozen Esper, although, upon observing it, they notice that it's glowing, and, with its mighty power, kills the two soldiers and knocks the slave crown right off of her, freeing her from control. Later on, she wakes up from that catastrophe in a bed by some old man. We then find out that she has amnesia. The only thing she remembers is her name, Terra. With the people outside of the house demanding him to give the girl to them, he tells her to make haste to the mountains. Upon doing so, she gets cornered. Then, she falls into a cave and gets knocked out. While she is unconscious, we see a flashback where we see a clown named Kefka putting the crown on her, and making her burn a lot of soldiers for whatever reason. And then we see a man named Emperor Gastal with General Leo, Kefka, and a girl named Celis, as he announces to the people that they have revived the lost art called magic, and that they will use it to take over the world. Terra is in the background during this. So yeah, they actually revived magic itself. Honestly, I thought you would have figured it out beforehand. During this, the old man is greeted by a treasure hunter named Locke. The old man tells him to help Terra out, and to get her to the kingdom of Figaro. Upon him finding her, they are invaded by some of the people who want to seize her. But, luckily for us, a herd of Moogles came to help Locke drive them off. Man, Moogles are cute! As Terra wakes up, and they escape, they travel together to Figaro, which is in the desert, with no camels. Upon reaching the land, they meet the king of Figaro, Edgar, who is, unfortunately, a ladies' man, along with expertise in machinery. After some time to look around, Edgar is then greeted by Kefka himself. It should. Pretty much everybody I have ever seen online suggests that this crazy clown is the best villain of all time for many reasons. Although, I honestly disagree. Kefka asks Edgar if he has seen Terra anywhere. Edgar protects Terra by lying to Kefka. Later on, Locke, alone with Terra, explains that he, the old man from earlier, Edgar, and the entire kingdom of Figaro is part of a resistance group whose sole purpose is to fight the Empire by Gastal. The group is called the Returners. Later, Kefka, not falling for Edgar's lie, ends up burning the entire castle, trying to force Edgar to talk. But Edgar doesn't lose to this insane clown, and ends up hopping on top of some chocobos. Yay, chocobos! Along with Locke and Terra. And the entire castle submerges under the sand like a submarine. During their escape, they run into some Magitech armor, where it is there that they find out that Terra can use magic. Yes, there is. You like it? During their run, Terra realizes she needs to make a choice if she wants to help the returners or not. Locke and Edgar don't force her to make that decision right away. And then they ride to South Figaro to meet up with Bannon. I will stop explaining the story there. The story is really good, and a joy to just skip level grinding, a big habit I have in every RPG game I ever played, and just play through the game just to see what happens next in the story. One thing that confused me was who is the main character? Well, sometime after I finished this game, I ended up finding out online that everybody's the main character. No, I am serious, and I can't literally pull your leg even if I wanted to. I found this kind of story element very interesting, and is something I never thought I'd ever see in any sort of game, movie, etc. I don't know why they did, but it's kind of cool. The story had emotion in some parts of the game. It also had epicness and so much more. Based on some of my experience through the story, and more, I decided to give story 3 stars. Although I do think that the story is great. Music. The music to this game is nice. The music I hear is orchestrated, and it's done pretty well. While some moments were okay in sounding for the most part, other parts were very touching to hear during certain moments of the game. And there were some that were catchy, and others that touched me in the heart. Literally. I mean, who can ever forget the opera song that Celis plays? Beautiful. Just beautiful. The sound effects are okay too. Even the most famous villain laugh of Final Fantasy. That menacing laugh. Now, throughout this review, you probably have been hearing the timing of all sound effects a bit off. Or, in other cases, dragged out in the tone of it. But that never happened to me. The sound effects and music sounded great in my playthrough of this game. The reason it may sound off is because of my recorder. And my emulator on the Super Nintendo games don't always work well at times with my recorder. Plus, I was experimenting with some stuff. But I'm getting off topic. With everything I said and more, I decided to give music 4 stars. Hi everybody. This review is way long, like 40 or something minutes. So, upon me editing the whole thing, I decided to split up into two videos. So, you just watched part 1. Now click here for part 2, where I go over graphics and gameplay and what I think of the game all in all. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that, but I wanted it to be long and in depth of this game, but it was longer than I expected. My gosh, so I'm sorry about that. But hey, let me know in the comments if you want to see me upload a different video with the whole thing, like both part 1 and part 2 together. I will warn you, it will take like 40 or 50 something minutes long. I forget how long, I have to look again. So, if you wouldn't mind me uploading that after part 2, let me know, then probably will. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. If you like what you saw today, be sure to like the video. If you like the channel you saw today, be sure to subscribe to my channel. No swearing in the comments. Tell friends and family about this channel. Please click here for part 2 to know the rest of the review, and I will see you guys next time. Okay, see you, everybody. Oh! Happy Thanksgiving!